I remember when I was a little boy, there seemed to always be a table in my living room that had puzzle pieces scattered all over it. An edge coming together over here, some blue sky and clouds starting to take shape. But at the head of the table was always the box the puzzle came in, standing straight up. Because you had to know the picture before you could create the picture. Well, education is the same way. We need to know a child before we can teach a child. Children have all kinds of things that they're dealing with. Stress, anxiety, trauma. But a child's circumstances don't have to dictate their outcome. As parents, we send our children to school with a set of goals. We want them to be happy and discover passion in their learning, to feel safe and secure, to master the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic. And we hope that they'll meet and become friends with children of different backgrounds and perspectives. And as we watch them grow, we realize that learning isn't just academic. It's also social and emotional. And that if we're going to achieve those goals, we need to combine these skills. Children learn these skills in a variety of settings. At home, extracurricular activities, and at school. As adults, our lives are packed full. Work, bills, family, social lives, and within each of those are more things, and we're scrambling trying to find the time to get them all done. Well, our community's children are going through the same thing. They just haven't developed the tools to help them get through it. To them, these issues can seem so much larger and insurmountable. When a child walks into the classroom, they're not only having to worry about their responsibilities as a student, but any number of factors that can impair their ability to learn. This varies from child to child and from neighborhood to neighborhood. We will sit our children down in front of textbooks and notebooks and computers and demand that they produce, not realizing that the realities that exist outside of that school's walls might be all that they can think about. We need to know a child before we can teach a child. We've heard some great ideas about education. Wonderful, fantastic ideas like project-based learning, STEM integration, utilizing technology in the classroom. But none of those things matter if a child is worrying about if they're going to be able to eat over the weekend, or if they're going to have to wake up in the middle of the night because a police officer is telling them to move the car that they're sleeping in, or if they're worrying about how to protect a younger sibling if a parent gets drunk and violent again. We need to know a child before we teach a child. None of this is new. Parents and educators have been dealing with these issues for decades. Usually they're looked at as roadblocks to learning. But we need to remember that on the path to success, things like anxiety, stress, trauma are not the obstacles that are in the way. They are the way. We need to understand the children are going to be going through these things regardless of how well they do on a test or how poorly they do on an essay. We need to find a way to reach all children without neglecting any of them. How do we do that? we ask for help. Help for our children. Help for their teachers so that they have the time to better get to know their students. Help for our schools. Sometimes that can be as easy as recruiting school volunteers. I remember 9 years ago when I first started volunteering at my daughter's school. I was on cafeteria duty, and I noticed a young man sitting by himself in the cafeteria. I went up and I introduced myself. He told me his name was Austin. Over the next couple weeks, I got to know Austin. One day he comes up to me and asks me to read a story that he wrote, and I read it, and it was really good. A couple days later, his teacher came up to me and said, "Mr. Overton, I'd like to speak with you. We have been trying to find ways to get Austin to participate more in class, to do his writing. He came to me and told me that he was writing another story for you to read. So thank you." I kept in touch with Austin and his family over the years. And about a month before this last school year ended, his mother reached out to me and told me that Austin is graduating as valedictorian. Now, things aren't always as serendipitous as they were with Austin. Sometimes it's a teacher who notices the same child's stomach is grumbling every morning and brings a box of granola bars to help that child make it to lunch. Maybe the school counselor who finds a way to get a needy kid a new pair of shoes. And every now and then, it's just a high five that child can depend on getting from a caring adult. We need to find a way to reach all children without neglecting any of them. What we need to do is realize that there are things out there that can make this happen. The Aspen Institute's National Commission for Social, Emotional, and Academic Development reports that supporting a child socially and emotionally can lead to an 11 percentage point increase in grades and test scores. That's a 59% F going to a C. Supporting a child's emotional and social competency increases graduation rates, post-secondary enrollment, post-secondary completion, and employment rates. Decreases dropout rates, drug use, teen pregnancy, criminal behavior, and mental health issues. We need to know a child before we can teach a child. We need to come together to make this happen. Let's think about what it would look like if we came together as a community to achieve this, so that teachers could better get to know their students. Imagine, about a month before school starts, a packet arrives in the mail, printed at no cost to the school district by a local printer. Inside is a welcome letter, a schedule, and a bus pass provided by the city. The families walk in on that first day, and on the walls are posters of organizations and local businesses supporting the school. Over here is a community pantry, and over here, a clothing bank open to anybody in the neighborhood who needs items. They walk into their classroom, and by every desk is a backpack filled with school supplies collected by a local church. And the backpacks are decorated by a local artist with the child's name on it. At recess, community volunteers on the playground, monitoring and interacting with the kids. after school, a local car club lines the streets to not only make sure the kids get home safe, but to interact and offer words of encouragement. The possibilities are endless. Now the important part. Who are you in this picture? The artist? The playground monitor? The teacher? We are all puzzle pieces in this new world of education. Where do you fit?